Hello! And welcome to Plat Chat, episode 43, presented by T-Mobile. Welcome. Sit down, get a drink, and wait around and listen to us, the experts in the Overwatch scene, as we discuss the ins and outs, the intricacies, and the way the lasers line up inside of crystals.
What?
Break it away, breaking it down. We're going to start with the...
Breaking it away.
What's going on? What's up, guys?
Hi.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Dude, I'm a little bit out of it, actually.
So
I decided to sleep in because of my finger. And it's pretty painful even now, actually.
What I love is I saw somebody on Reddit. Somebody was like, "Hey, what are some Overwatch podcasts I could listen to?" And obviously they watched this one because it's the best one. But they also were just like, "Man, Plat Chat really seems like they go off topic a lot now." And I literally, within the first 2 seconds, I asked Bren how it was, and I can already in my brain feel myself going down this path, down the wrong direction. But this one,
it's not a bad thing.
We always say this could be a short episode.
Keep stalling. I've lost something.
This could very well be a short episode.
I mean, the games were ass.
Because the games were ass. The games were short. I mean,
I think that's quite negative of you guys.
Is it?
What do you mean it's negative? I'm saying what I see. I see poo.
Yeah, you're right.
So I say it's poo.
Right, actually.
I see poo. I say poo.
Yeah.
If it quacks like a duck and it... what's the rest of that? If it looks like a duck and
if it quacks like a duck, then it's
probably a duck. Yeah. I forgot what it was apart from quack. I forgot how else you would identify what.
And I don't think it's negativity. It's just you're watching one team really good and the other team really bad. If I just talked about the
sarcasm.
Is there some argument to be made that the level of play has somehow gotten worse recently? I feel like in the last few weeks, things have... There's definitely a bigger gap between the top teams and the bottom teams, isn't there? It feels like it.
Yeah,
maybe
feels like it. Since the summer showdown.
Yeah.
Like stuff is going on.
You also have to remember, like, the season is even longer this year than it is in the past. And with everything going on with COVID and stuff, sometimes it's hard for, even people like us to get the motivation to do stuff.
I just think it's a new meta, and like people are figuring it out. Like going into the season, we raved about how double shield was the scrim meta before the season.
Yeah.
And then we got like some double hit scan. And for the most part, this season, we've only seen double hit scan and make composition.
Right.
And now we're seeing dive. When was the last time we saw Genji dive?
Well, that's a good point. But when you say figure it out, I feel like from what I saw, there was not a lot of figuring it out. There was a lot of we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, people didn't even really play that much dive at all in North America as well. They were pretty set on their double shield. Nah, they just put double shield with a Genji. I mean, that ain't dive.
Oh, you mean in the past?
No, I mean right now, this week. Like, how many teams actually played
Winston
in North America? Not very many.
Atlanta played Winston. What'd you find?
Finally. Dude.
What?
I'm telling you, man. I had to switch to my T-Mobile 5G network to actually pull this up because the internet in our house wasn't working. On my phone, I don't know what happened, but I just found out about this new mobile phone network. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. T-Mobile. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Going around the block. They sponsor our show, of course, presented by them. And they have America's largest 5G network covering 215, I should say, million people nationwide in nearly 6,000 cities and towns. And thanks to them, I was able to salvage and thank the Lord that I was able to do it, because we might have had to restart this podcast, actually, if I wasn't able to pull up this file that was telling me exactly what to read out. So even better, the nationwide 5G network works indoors and outdoors, covering thousands of miles, while the competition is only covering city blocks. Just another way to T-Mobile.
True.
It's changing the game. Rank up, take your wireless game to the next level with T-Mobile, and visit T-Mobile.com today. And your game and your phone and your TV and your grandmother will thank you.
Hello,
Your grandmother.
Grandmother.
Yep.
Kind of imagine that we couldn't talk about Overwatch if it wasn't for Bren pulling the script up.
Yeah, I mean, we genuinely we would have had to restart the show. So,
like, what a travesty.
Bren's script has the T-Mobile plug, and then it just has Krong as a rookie in all caps. Those are the only 2 notes he's taken all year.
Dude, I actually can't believe that Krong's a rookie. Like,
he's a beast.
I think that meme is dead.
It's not
that
dead.
Like a month old now.
It's not dead.
So what were you guys talking about?
We were talking about the level of play.
Oh, the level of play.
Yeah.
I got a personal theory about this, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at me. I've got a personal theory about this. I think that the meta for so long has not been like, when was the last time we saw Orisa banned?
This is literally what Johnny was just saying.
it wasn't that long ago, to be honest. It was maybe 10
He's gonna say
weeks
what
ago,
you're
I
gonna
want to
say.
say.
No.
No. Well, oh yeah, Orisa, right. Sigma
Yeah.
hasn't been banned all year.
So what's your
Orisa
theory here,
has.
Bren?
I think the best teams, they can switch in between in and out of metas pretty easily without you know having to get readjusted. I think they can apply fundamentals that they know from just playing Overwatch for years and years across to most metas when they develop. Like, they don't really lose much in forms of team play, coordination. But the worst teams, I think, cannot pivot as easily from meta to meta. It's like a well-trained clown trying to ride a unicycle while juggling.
Of all the
thought you were gonna say,
analogies,
like, a
you pick
dog.
a clown.
Yes, a well-trained clown riding a unicycle trying to juggle. And if you think of the balls as the metas, and they're flowing through the air. Now, you might not be using all the metas at the same time, but it doesn't mean you got to forget about them. An untrained clown juggler riding a unicycle is going to forget about the balls when he's trying to keep his balance. And that's what the weaker teams are like. But the better teams, they remember the foundations of riding the unicycle, whilst also remembering that the other metas exist.
But what is the unicycle?
That's actually smart.
No,
I
it's
actually
not.
like that analogy.
Johnny, no.
That's horrible.
Okay, what's a better analogy? I challenge you to come up with a better analogy, because I think that was pretty spot on.
Pretty spot on.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you.
I mean, okay, so what is even the premise here? What are we trying to construct?
What are we trying to? Yeah,
we're trying to say it's like where teams are good at their fundamentals, so they're able to take on many different tasks, right? They're able to be good at many different methods.
Where do the fundamentals come into play? Let me tell you. They come into play in every day, Josh. Every day.
So what does every day stand for?
That's why they're fundamentals.
If the juggling balls are the metas,
fundamentals are
and the unicycle,
the intricacies of a meta are the juggling of balls, right? And generally speaking, teams takes a little bit of a while to get the 2-ball juggle going, even though it's one of the most simple maneuvers in juggling. And sometimes they can only manage the 1-ball juggle, which is just tossing a ball up in the air over and over again.
Right.
But the best teams will always remember those previous balls that are flying through the air.
Right. Very interesting.
Right. Okay.
You don't understand the point that I'm trying to make?
I do. I understand it in some sense, but I feel like it was a terrible analogy. A terrible analogy.
Well, come up with a better one.
I think you just confuse people.
To me, it's a bit more like what we've got currently is when we had like hero pools going all the time, it was like taking specialized athletes and telling them all to do a decathlon or something, where they all have to do
No. You cannot do this, because we're literally in a sport where there are specialized players. So your analogy is literally a different sport.
Well, hold on.
I'm not talking different methods.
What about then
hero pools?
And then what about Bren's? What's you can only juggle 2, 3 at a time. How many metas do we have? Hundreds? How do you equate that?
Well, the best jugglers can juggle hundreds of balls, Matt.
No, they can't.
There is not anyone who can juggle 100
There's
balls
got to
on
be
a
a video
unicycle at a time.
right?
There's only juggling is described by very strict mathematical rules. I think there's a hard limit to the amount of balls that can actually be juggled.
A hard limit. The limit is your throwing arm.
So
no, it's not, because it's like the cycle at which they come up and down. There's only so many.
A juggler, he specializes in only 2 and 3 balls.
Can you juggle, Josh?
So a juggler is the specialization as well.
I am very bad at juggling. What
does it say?
How many balls? 14?
Right, no one gives a shit.
Yeah, nobody's juggling 100 balls. Bren, think of your hands and your arms. Who's juggling 100 balls?
No one cares about this.
Juggling more than
actually-
14 balls at once may be physically impossible.
Everyone tuned in to this podcast to hear us talk trash about Super's Genji, and we're here 10 minutes in talking about juggling fucking balls.
I don't know about
When are
you
we
guys,
going
but
to get to the Super Genji?
I think this is quite interesting because I didn't know that there was physical limitations.
Did you know that maths has discovered new ways of juggling that people had never known before? Like, people had just never tried certain ways of juggling, and by running math formula, they have discovered new ways of throwing balls.
Bren is throwing us down a horrible slope as the host here with a now we're showing juggling videos.
How many balls is this guy managing? He's got
This
14 balls.
copyrighted
This guy's like the San Francisco Shock.
What is this building? What is this architecture?
Oh my god!
That's
Look,
the weirdest
that's
looking building I've ever seen.
crazy.
He's juggling
really
more
is crazy.
balls than we saw maps this weekend.
That is crazy.
There was a lot of 3 Overwatch.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
let's
Every
talk about the
series they
Texas
casted.
Throwdown because that's where it really begins, doesn't it? I mean, that wasn't a
Oh my
3-0,
God.
but
It
it
was a good
was.
series.
It was a painful series.
It was. So why do you think that, Josh?
Because some series are won. This series was lost. Like, both teams were trying to, or not trying, obviously, but both teams should have lost this series many times, and yet the other team made even worse mistakes and like lost it even harder. And that happened repeatedly in this series, where you're convinced that Houston have it in the bag because like Dallas fumbled their defense on Volskaya. And then it goes to Route 66. And again, Houston looked really good. And then they just throw away their defense, like horrible ult management at the end, and just open the door, and Dallas end up sneaking it away. And then it goes to Eichenwald, and there's just way more mistakes. And Nepal's just an absolute shit fest that ends in a C9.
Dude, the C9 was horrid.
It was insane. It was like both of the teams seemed like they didn't want to win.
I feel so bad for Dante as well. Like, he is so good. Like, he is so good. And to lose in that fashion was rough. I mean, me and Josh were watching it, and they actually, in that fight, they get the first pick. Like, Dallas has so many ultimates, I believe, going into it. Houston gets the first pick, and they touch it, and then they never end up making it back. It was horrible.
They
really
literally
was.
would have touched if Rappel's Moira character was shorter. Because Rappel's Moira,
He banged his head, didn't he?
like as Rappel's head like hit the ledge on top, and so the model got stuck.
Did he
But
jump?
if Moira was a dwarf, they would have been able to touch the point, and they would have lost.
And also, Blase was coming down with a meteor strike, I believe, as well onto the point.
Oh no.
Lord,
It was-
it was a meteor
Here
strike
it is,
about to
yeah.
come down.
I said at the time, it's not the worst C9 in the league because we have Renjin, but that was probably the most heart-wrenching C9. Like,
Probably.
it really just like hit you like both
Especially because it's the like pivotal moment, and also Dante and Meko have been hard carrying this team, and they are staring a reverse sweep down. There's already the like curse of the Houston map 5s, and in the meantime, at the halftime point, Raucus has been talking about how trash Dallas is on the bench. So it's like you as a Houston, as anyone who likes Houston at all, you're like, oh come on, you can't throw this away, please no. Like, you're gonna get so much flack from your fans, from the Dallas fans, from everyone if you let this
We've all
happen.
been there before, though, where you say something at like a halftime or when you have a lead in a game, and then at the end of the game you're like, oh shit, like
Well,
I'm gonna
do you
get
think that
wrecked.
the reason the quality of play was particularly poor with these two teams? Do you think that's partly because of the pressure, the stakes?
Do you think it was poor? I think compared to some of the other teams we saw all weekend, they were actually quite good.
I think that both of these teams generally played pretty well, but then they made big mistakes. That's different to just being bad, right? Like, there are some teams that are just bad. Like, they just don't know what they're doing. They're just fucking lost. Like, they don't understand the meta. They're all over the place. The players are bad. Like, neither of these teams were bad, but they did make some huge mistakes, and like mistakes on every map. And that's almost, it's more entertaining, but it's also more annoying to watch because you know what should be happening, and you know the players are capable of it, and then they throw it all away.
Well,
and you're like, what the fuck?
a team that makes like a game like this is more tilting than watching a team getting blown out, because you can see both of these teams, if they correct some of these small mistakes, like really being strong teams. It's just constantly making like the same mistakes over and over again. It's just tough. But who do you guys still feel better about, like, as a team? Like, because I know we had Houston 4th last week. Do you still feel good about both of them?
I mean, I think you really saw Hydration's limitations as a Winston player. I mean, obviously his Orisa was pretty solid, but it's just like you can just see some Winston leap, and you just know that they're like half guessing at like what they're doing. I saw Gator with some pretty questionable jumps as time as Winston, and like he was getting creative, especially on point B where Sky is like trying to find unique jumps, stuff that work, etc. And Hydration had some of those too. And I think you really saw the limitations of Houston Outlaws in this meta. But at the same time, I don't feel too bad about either of these teams.
No, I would agree with you. I think, especially off the back of watching the rest of North America.
Yeah, exactly.
We saw some real questionable stuff, actually, that was just being played in general. But this tends to happen, I think, because it is quite a significantly different meta, I think, in terms of the heroes that are being played compared to anything that we've really seen.
It's even different to last week.
I was even thinking back, and with a lot of the players we have in the league and whatnot, because we have had a lot of turnover from season 1. When was the last time some of these players even played dive? Like, have they even played dive at a professional level?
Some of them haven't.
Some of them haven't, right? Like, some of them, kind of like go straight into double shield. Like, we've never seen, like, because Winston's been gone for so long, and same with like Diva in situations, and Tracer, Genji. Like, how many of these players have experience playing it?
I mean, that was actually a pretty similar thing that happened when Goats came, because before Goats, we had an influx of Korean Winston players who were phenomenal at Winston. And then they had to adapt to Reinhardt meta, but they had never played Reinhardt before. And we have a similar thing now with Dive.
Yeah. I think the APAC region seems... Sorry, Josh, go ahead.
I was going to say, in this Texas game in particular, though, they've got some long-standing players that have all played Dive before. I mean, like the tank line of Dallas looked pretty comfortable playing the Dive, actually. Gamsu looked impressive playing against Hydration, because you kind of see the difference there between someone who's solid versus someone who's just kind of trying to get to grips with the role in the first place.
Meko looked like Meko again.
Yeah, Meko looking great.
True.
Had a great series. The backline made a lot of mistakes for both of these teams, though. They had like good moments as well, but my God, like some of the ult usage, it really seemed like it was off.
I would also say, like, imagine playing Zen this week. I watched the couch stream with like Myungbong just getting dove over and over again.
Oh my God.
But when was the last time supports had to play Zen against like a dive kind of composition? Like, even in season 1, it was like what, Tracer, Widowmaker, like maybe Winston, like it wasn't.
I mean, that was bad peel as well. Like, I actually think that some of these teams struggled because it's way more obnoxious to dive against Zen Brig support backlines. Because before, when we had dive compositions before in Overwatch League history, the win condition was you dive the Zen Mercy or like the Luciana, and like that's your win condition. But with Brig in the mix, it's harder to pull that off unless you're facing the Boston Uprising.
I'll be honest with you guys. I think it makes it significantly harder for less qualified teams to peel effectively for like a Zenyatta player now that the armor pack has been changed. For Brig, where it doesn't provide armor, which I don't know if you guys agree with me with this, but at least of the teams that I've spoken to, I think it's making a drastic difference in terms of how teams can really play. Like the added armor on top, which adds the damage reduction, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but it means that your effective HP is actually quite a significant amount lower when you're being dove by certain targets like Winston or a Tracer. You don't have that buffer of the damage reduction per tick, per the damage instance anymore. In between you getting dove upon as a Zenyatta player. So I think some of the worse teams, some of the less not naming any names, but I'm sure there's a couple that come to mind, are really going to struggle with that aspect as well, with just the Brigitte nerfs in general.
this is also going to be a meta where those teams are going to be in a way worse spot as a team than in previous metas. And I say that because a meta like this, where a team can be really aggressive, push the pace, and just force constant mistakes out of you, is way harder to win team fights just in general, like than like a double shield. And like there's not like a crazy win condition ult here that like you can just dominate with. It's much harder. So I think when you see things go wrong, you're going to see things go really wrong, like how we saw this weekend for a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just mention a YouTube? So I did the companion stream.
And then, by the way, he tweets it out and he doesn't tag me, and then he doesn't. He barely puts me and Brennon in the title. We're in the thumbnail.
Listen, you'll have to talk to my social media manager.
I wasn't even
that.
in the video about it. That was the morning.
Talking about your nail.
That was the morning where I was mad hungover because I was doing multiple shots because it was the day before I had ripped off my nail.
Yeah, which you still haven't informed the Plat audience about as well. You'll have to tell us about that.
Later, yeah. Do I have to tell? I've told her this nail story so many times on stream.
I don't want to hear it.
It's so.
What's the comment?
Right, let me read out this comment because
comment.
I uploaded the video to my YouTube channel, and this one's got 47 upvotes. It says, not going to lie, Houston need to rebuild around Dante and Meko because they absolutely look like the best players. And I was like, all right, fair enough. There's a reply to it that says, honestly, I think keeping Hydration, Linksa, Raucus, Repel, and Jexa is worthwhile too.
Isn't that the rest of the team?
And the same guy responds saying, you realize you literally listed their starting lineup plus Raucus. Like, you want to save their entire starting lineup and then an extra player. That's a good rebuild. That sounds like
Hydration is somebody, regardless of which way the Outlaws kind of go in the offseason and whatnot, is somebody I would definitely hold on to because he's proven his worth in being able to play multiple roles now.
I think in Hydration's case, it's really interesting, actually, because I think this hasn't been confirmed to me by talking to anyone, but what I suspect is that there's a lot of Overwatch League teams right now that have probably not got the funds to pick up additional players, just on the basis of COVID, right? Like, I think it's safe to assume there's a lot of companies out there right now that don't have the spending power that they previously have. Maybe that's not the case with some teams, but I can definitely imagine in Houston's case, there being a scenario where they're like, we really want to pick up a main tank player, but we don't have one. And Hydration is essentially building this gap for them.
I would say it's not necessarily funds. I would say it's just incredibly hard to add somebody because then you're either in a situation like Paris with Fielder where he's playing at 4 a.m. or whatever time in South Korea. Like, hey, would you rather have Hydration or somebody playing overnight or like 8 a.m. games on 200 ping? Like, I'd probably rather have Hydration. I don't know. Like,
there's no reason.
I think that's the issue.
There's no reason, though, it can't be either. It can't be a situation.
It can be a combination,
the root of the problem is still COVID, right? The COVID is causing issues for teams, for businesses, based on just logistics and also money. I mean, there could be both reasons. What do you mean, Josh? Are you about to tell me COVID isn't real?
No, I'm not about to tell you COVID isn't real, but I am instead inclined to argue that COVID has nothing to do with Hydration being the main tank here.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just... well, I mean, why?
Well,
right. Go back to the beginning of the year. They had no idea that it was going to be COVID in the first place, and they are sticking with Muma, and they've picked up Hydration, who they already trialed a little bit as a main tank.
Yeah,
because he was playing a bit of ball for the Gladiators as well. Now, I think that it's a ridiculous situation that they were even thinking about picking up Hydration, like when they already had Blase that they had planned to pick up in the first place. It makes no sense. Like, why didn't they just properly invest in a main tank? Because let's be real, as good as Hydration is, he's still not on the same level as every other main tank in the league.
I've heard that a lot of his tryouts in the offseason were on main tank. That a lot of teams were interested in him as a main tank.
Really?
Well, then fantastic. Yeah. But he's not good enough on the Winston or the Rhine to justify it. So then he's just a bad main tank. Like,
Johnny's like, why? Johnny's like, how did I not get a tryout?
If you remove the argument of him being a DPS player that swapped over to the main tank, you remove all of the excuses, that you very validly make for Hydration. Like, Hydration's done an amazing job as a DPS that moved to main tank. But if he genuinely is supposed to be a main tank player, then he's just not that good at anything other than Orisa.
I think you guys have too high expectations. Like, sometimes, regardless how good the team is, they're just gonna go Pepeg. And like, I'm not saying in this case that it's Pepeg to put hydration on the main tank, because it's obviously worked for the Houston Outlaws. You know, they're having better results. In my opinion, they're looking more consistent with hydration on the main tank.
Oh, absolutely.
But also, it deserves to be mentioned that the only public statement we've really heard is that Muma's wrist or something is like hurting, and that's why hydration is playing.
Yeah,
I don't know whether still to believe that or hydration is officially the main tank. Well, I don't know. But like, sometimes this just happens. Taimu main tank, Rijahong main tank, swoosh. Like, sometimes teams just go full Pepe, and we have this situation on our hands. Like,
yes.
it's just,
oh yeah, absolutely.
We just have to accept that every season we're going to see an unexpected main tank, because it's just how. But
I'll be honest,
it's just how it works. It's the cycle of damage players being on Winston.
No, I would say though, Johnny, I think he got picked up. And I think he got picked up and trialed as a main tank because nobody could see at that moment how Orisa was being pushed out of the meta.
Is this a hot take? Am I the only one?
Okay, if any team trialed hydration as a main tank, but strictly only scrimmed with him on Orisa, and we're like, that's enough. That's a main tank for us.
They probably tried him on Orisa and Ball, and you're like, all right, like, he can cover those. We can just use Muma and on the Rhine and the Winston.
I know that some Overwatch League teams do have very thorough scrims, but that doesn't necessarily mean the ones that trialed hydration did.
Yeah.
Am I the only one who thinks hydration's
so
not that bad?
short-sighted.
Well, I don't think hydration's bad.
Okay, all right, but do you actually think is there another starting main tank in the league that you think is worse at all of the heroes, like an all-round main tank, an all-round worse main tank? I'm not saying like just as Orisa, but like at the Winston and the Reinhardt as well. I think
you can make a case for some, yeah.
For who? Like, for actually who? Like, I can't. Like, because even if I think about the absolute like worst teams in the league, because that's a great place to start for the worst main tanks, right? You're thinking about Fusions. I think Fusions is a better main tank than Hydration is. I think he's like an all-round better player. Well, like, you could make an argument for his Orisa or something.
Okay. I sort of agree with you there, especially in individual skill. Fusion is individually skilled better than Hydration. But main tank is such a dynamic role. So I'll happily have this conversation and discussion. I'm not shutting down the discussion, but you have to keep the context in mind as well.
There's so much
like,
team
like shot calling, team, and that stuff.
Yeah.
Because hydration has obviously helped and improved the Houston Outlaws in that regard.
Absolutely.
He's honestly an improvement to Muma. And I'm not
he is.
So as we're having this conversation, that is pretty fun, and I want to have it. We need to keep that in the back of our heads.
Yeah. And
I also think it's tremendous upside.
Well, what's the upside?
I think we've seen him play heroes, like numerous heroes now at an Overwatch League level. I think with time he can become a good tank at the other heroes.
The only way that this conversation is important whatsoever is thinking about what Houston should do next year. Like, obviously they're going to stick with hydration in the short term. That's the best solution for them. But looking forward to next year, do you continue to try and invest in hydration, or would you rather pick up another main tank that is already, already competent at the heroes themselves, and you can try and build him out as like the player that you need?
You would probably use the same formula you did this year, where you have hydration as was hydration always going to be the one who was going to be the main tank this year? Maybe not, but he was there and he was able to play flex DPSs.
I think he's a great bench player. I think he's a fantastic reserve player.
He was able to play the tanks, and maybe you find another option, but I think you let them compete for the starting job again, because I think, like Johnny said, we've seen this team improve with him in the lineup. So clearly something is working, whether you believe it's...
Johnny made the case perfectly, though.
Huh?
The main tank is a dynamic role. There's factors that go into it other than just what appears to be mechanical skill on the outside.
Right.
Okay, but it's not like Houston have trialed many main tanks and hydration was the one that fit. They've played with Muma forever. And as soon as they subbed out Muma, even for a DPS player, they actually saw more consistent results. Also, I think that is more of an indictment of Muma than it is hydration being fantastic.
He still has to play.
What do you mean he still has to? Oh, well, yeah. And I'm not, at no point am I saying that hydration is god awful, but I'm saying that if you have the option in this offseason to pick up an all-round better player that can play the Ryan and the Winston at a level to match up to the other main tanks, you'll find someone that fits your team.
Yeah.
Hydration is not the only guy that's going to fit the Outlaws.
I love how me and you are having this talk. Johnny's an actual tank over here.
Well, yeah, well, you know, you're doing like the groundwork, like the brickwork. You're laying the framework, and I'm building the house at the end. You know, like you're
Build my
laying
house,
down the bricks.
Yeah.
And so I think at the end of the day, next year, when you want to decide if hydration is the main tank for you, I think you can look at several other potential pickups. Let's use Mag for an example, picking up him from Korean contenders. Let's say the Houston Outlaws gets the opportunity to pick up Mag. If Mag does not fit the dynamics of the Houston Outlaws, I almost at that point wonder if there's something wrong with the dynamics of the Houston Outlaws themselves, and you should just prioritize picking up a superior player and then working around him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because I think like if you have to quote unquote settle with an inferior main tank because he fits your system, maybe there's something wrong with the system.
Yeah, I think that's.
But for now, short term, I like the Houston Outlaws, and I think they're improving. They're looking better. I think the coaching has really helped this team. I like the compositions they're running. I like the substitutions. I think Houston Outlaws are on the rise. But is hydration long term like a great main tank for this team? Who knows, dude?
They are going in a direction a lot of other teams are not going, in the positive direction. So I mean,
they clearly have some kind of like a choking issue that they haven't quite figured out. I mean, there's still a huge amount of mistakes here, but it's like they're big mistakes, which is somehow better. You know what I mean? Like you can identify them and fix them more easily.
I've been thinking about it. I'll give you a main tank who I would take hydration over.
Wow.
Who?
Gator.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
that was so unexpected.
That is.
Yeah, I was like,
not because Gator is bad. It was just like the unexpected upgrade.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
And I was like, you're giving an answer to a question we asked like 8 minutes ago.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it, and I was thinking there must be someone who I would pick hydration over.
Wait, whoa, you would pick hydration over Gator?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he's arguing here. I mean, the thing is, I feel like I should have a very strong negative reaction to what you're saying, but I feel like Gator and Hawk as a duo have really underperformed this season compared to my expectations of them.
Yeah,
I don't know whether I agree with you, but I haven't paid that much attention to Gator's play, honestly. Like aside from being underwhelmed,
I mean, they did look pretty bad in the Summer Showdown because they had inferior shield spam to the Toronto Defiant because they were playing the Tracer composition with Edison, right?
Yeah.
And so naturally, they're going to lose a bit of the shield war because Toronto had Genji and therefore have a slight advantage in that regard. But it didn't look great from Gator and Hawk. And then this week, I'm burping. They're forced to dive, and it didn't look particularly great as well. I think Gator struggled pretty hard against the Florida Mayhem because obviously the Florida Mayhem, they shut down Edison. BQB just hunted him down. That was the story of the game. But then also Gator tried to shut down Yaki as well. But because Atlanta Reign were playing this like Zenyatta Brig composition, like the heals just weren't there for Gator to properly deal with Yaki and at the same time hold a front line. So it comes down to resources as well. I don't know if Gator... I haven't watched enough Atlanta Reign to know if the system is structured around Gator to like feed him enough resources to be good. But it feels like for the most part, Gator has not been like living up to the expectations we really had. I still think there's something there. I still have hope for the Atlanta Reign. I keep looking at this team. And fans hate this, by the way. The Reddit narrative at this point is, why are all the analysts still hyping up the Atlanta Reign? I know Sideshow isn't, but I still kind of am, because I still believe in this team. For some godforsaken reason, I am excited about the Atlanta Reign.
You are mad.
Still.
Yeah.
I still like the Atlanta Reign. I'll defend it.
I'm moving on. I'm moving this conversation
on. I go down with the ship, dude.
We've been on tanks. We've been on Texas far too long. I'm getting Keiko.
There's way too much analysis.
You know.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about APAC for a little bit. Let's move things along.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Chengdu beating NYXL. What the hell happened here? What happened here?
I watched Josh do a VOD review of this game today.
Yeah.
And I mean, I usually just kind of mauled at his opinions regardless, but then I got more angry at the gameplay than I did his opinions. The fact that they lose, I was watching Dumbani, and they were playing Genji Sombra into Aiming defensive wrecking ball, and they were getting dove and just losing. Like I watched Nene under the underpass. Josh, you remember the one where he had the an opportunity to hack Molly and then just came out of stealth and started walking around underneath the bridge. And they get bladed and they trance and then blade at like defensive blade. I was like, what in the world am I watching?
It was one of these weird games where the first two maps, New York totally in control. They look like a great team, like coordinated everything. And then Chengdu throws the ball strat at them on Havana. They can't deal with it, and they just boom themselves trying to come up with a solution. Like it was like one of those classic Chengdu matches where Chengdu throws something weird at you, and you fail to deal with it, and so you lose. And
That's classic Chengdu, though, right? They capitalize off of chaos in a meta. Like if a team's not comfortable, they will capitalize off of it every single time.
And so I came away actually with like more of a positive feeling for Chengdu than I did feeling bad for New York, because I feel like if New York had been playing against any other like decent or any other normal team rather in APAC, then I think they would have had a pretty good showing. Like I'm not convinced they would have beaten every other team, but I think they would have looked all right. They just didn't understand how to beat Chengdu at all.
Right.
And that takes a different skill set.
Well, how do you guys feel about New York though? Just in general after this, because I'm not gonna be real with you. The New York social media, they are pissed of us. They think that we're bullying them and we're picking on them. But
from when?
Okay,
when did that happen?
What do you mean?
I mean, that was way early in the season. But before we get there,
it was like the first few weeks.
No,
let me explain my theory on why I think New York really messed up this game. So my theory is that they actually practiced playing very aggressive in scrims leading into this matchup. And so when they went in with the mentality that, hey, we're going to play Winston dive, we're going to be the aggressor, and we're doing really well when we dive in with Genji and Tracer, and like we do so much damage. Then they stumble into this server, and they recognize Among, and they realize that they're going to play against Wrecking Ball the entire match. And they fail to recognize the fact that Wrecking Ball speeds up the tempo infinitely more than a Winston can. And so New York's game plan is like, hey, we're going to be the aggressor, we're going to go in, gets countered by Among just steaming over like a fucking freight train going max speed and no brakes. And New York are just like in shock because their game plan is, we're going to be the aggressor. Wait, we can't be aggressive. Do we have to slow the tempo down? What do we do here? So they start playing defensive Winston into a Wrecking Ball.
It was horrible. As soon as they started playing defensively, it looked awful.
Yeah, it was not good.
Really bad.
I do wonder though.
Who are you, Dash?
What I saw, I think it was a New York tweet out the beginning of the week, or it was either a tweet or they replied to somebody on Reddit. But this team was playing all remote up until this week. So now they're all in a facility playing together. Yes, they were all playing from like their home locations. They had not seen each other in months. They probably very difficult to do VOD reviews and whatnot. They're now all in the same spot.
Well,
so maybe we'll see that.
It was better when you were home. It was better before you were in LAN. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I was going to say maybe you'll see them get better now because they'll be able to actually do proper review and you'll have everybody in the same place.
They should do. But this isn't a great first showing, is it?
Obviously, yeah.
Not ideal. Not ideal.
Obviously, it was a joke. It's a joke.
I think that New York, like, there are still some fundamental problems with the way they approach the game, though. I think like Jonak continues to play aggressive, like try and take 1v1s, demands resources. Just someone needs to slap him out of that method of play.
Do you think they focus too much on him now?
That was what every Twitch chat viewer asked Josh the entire time during that stream, Matt.
I think they still do, though, like to some extent. It's not it's not. I don't think it's just Jonak though. Like this defensive style of play, I think also comes from Mano and the way that he likes to play Winston or just main tank in general. But Jonak at certain points, like there was a moment on Night Market on the final map where he's playing Moira and he's dueling the Genji in the backlines, like trying to 1v1 him, while both of his tanks die on the point, and he has Cole, and he's just sucking the Genji in the back. Like he uses 2 fades just to duel the Genji instead of getting out and healing his tanks. Like it's that kind of self-centered, I am the carry play that just doesn't make any sense apart from within some specific metas.
Sometimes it looks like they're playing Protect the VIP. With the way that how defensive they play and how he kind of plays his own life.
It's really outdated. And then also, like, the fact that they even come into Havana playing dive doesn't make sense to me. Like, Havana is not a dive map. Get it out of here. If you're playing against the ball comp and you're playing Genji Tracer dive or Sombra Genji dive, at that point, like, you're not playing the map properly and you're not playing your opponent's comp properly either. So there's some misunderstanding of the game, I think, that's coming from the players and also the coaches.
Let's move over and move on.
Okay.
Moving.
Where are we going? You're telling us where we're going.
Just letting it breathe for a minute, Matt.
To another dimension.
Okay.
We're going to go over to Atlanta again because we're not really talking about the tank line as much, but this is Babybay, obviously retired. No one knows which game he's going to. It's a secret.
It's impossible to tell.
It's impossible to tell.
Minecraft Dungeons. I'll break the news here.
Could be. What is your
Can
obsession
you
with
change the
Minecraft
topic
Dungeons?
to Babybay?
Oh,
I
yeah, it says Baby. Yo, what up,
Baby?
Baby?
Oh.
Yo, baby.
Yo, what's up, baby? Yo,
I was playing poker with a bunch of people a couple of nights ago, and everyone from every other esport was asking us, yo, is it like a big deal that Baby retired? And I was like, every time they say Baby instead of Babybay. I don't know. People just don't get it.
I miss Sinatra. I miss Corey. I'm gonna miss Babybay a lot just because he's such a fun personality. Like he's just a hilarious guy, and all the interactions that I've had with him at like the Blizzard Arena and whatnot, even like the inaugural season, always just super nice. Love being a part of the league.
Yeah.
I remember there was like that bar across the street, Simsies. We went there and. He was telling me and Puckett about how he used to just play Halo all the time, and it was just he's a gamer. He's just a gamer. Like
obviously, we all wish
awesome.
Babybay the best. Did we talk about this last week?
No,
we didn't.
I don't think it was announced, was it?
He wasn't announced yet.
Yeah,
I know he said it was going to be his last tournament, but people were like, oh
yeah, but we didn't know it officially.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, obviously everybody wishes him the best. If you don't, then you kind of need to just reassess yourself.
Best Babybay moment. Everybody say one.
Probably when he said "fuck off" to me over the phone on the desk.
That was
great. Didn't you do the 1v1 in
You
Atlanta?
ain't shit, bro.
Yeah,
he said you ain't shit. With the 1v1 wrestling thing
that me and him had. I've got some funny stories that came out of that, by the way. Because you remember my outfit where I was just wearing my Bane Sherlin jacket with nothing underneath. And me and Babybay were talking it up, and Babybay was like, yo, let's play it up for the crowd. Babybay was talking to me. Like, normally I'm the one who's saying to the pro player beforehand or something, saying, let's play it up for the crowd. Let's like try and get them going. Yeah. Babybay was saying, yo, I want to play this up for the crowd. I'm going to give you a couple of rounds. We're going to make it look close and competitive, which is true. Because let me tell you, the difference between Babybay and Gesture, not even comparable. Even if I got more rounds against Babybay, like you can just tell that Babybay was toying with his food. Like toying with his food. But this event here, dude. Also, crowd was very receptive to it. I don't know why they were cheering me on. They're supposed to be booing me. I'm a villain, but whatever.
Yeah.
When I actually got to sitting down and playing, Babybay was typing in the chat. We were typing a match chat to each other. And he said, bro, take off the jacket. Take off the jacket. I was like, yeah, okay. You got to do it for the sportsmanship, right? For the showmanship. So I take the jacket off. And immediately, shit hit the fan. Because the match chat, the admins started spamming in caps, saying, put your jacket on right now, Bren, They were pleading. They were pleading with me, saying, Bren, please put your jacket back on now, because they were worried that they were going to get banned off of Twitch because of the nipple policy.
Yeah.
we had this conversation in the production truck that year, because I was a talent.
Oh my God, yeah.
We had that conversation in the production truck. People were standing up like, is it TOS? No, they removed it from the TOS. Is it still TOS? Can you show nipples? Yeah, but is it different from male and female nipples? I don't know. Put the jacket out.
So I had people screaming at me, and then that panicked me because I'm a pretty anxious guy. So the anxiety levels just spiked in that moment while I'm doing this 1v1, and I'm like, oh Jesus, oh fuck, oh God, and I'm trying to 1v1 Baby, and I'm also trying to like make it look good, but I'm panicking, and Baby's toying with me, and I'm like, this is when they're spamming me in the chat, they're like, put your jacket on. Okay.
Oh, this is where you take it off.
This is where I take it off. And we're like going back and forth,
Right to Babybay.
Andre's just having the time of his life, you know?
I like the...
What a legend.
I love the third covers your nipples.
But yeah, Babybay was just toying with me the entire time, but what a player. Anyway, we got off track a little bit, but there you go. Some little insight into what happened in the 1v1 situation.
He's great.
Yeah.
To give some insight, because still, Babybay has this like kind of edgy personality around him. Like
he's doing 360s.
It's unbelievable. But like people have this perception that like Babybay is supposed to be this like mean Chad or whatever. But the reality is, I've never seen Babybay treat anyone poorly or like question them. Like, usually you have your friends that like you hang out with, you make jokes, whatever. Then there are some people that you obviously don't get along with. And then there's like the middle people where you're like, you say hi, you're nice, but like they're not really your friends, but you behave nice.
Acquaintances.
Yeah, like Babybay, every time I see him, he treats everyone like they're actually like their brother or sister.
They're the homie.
And it's like he will go like get lunch at the Blizzard Arena or some shit and would be like, hey yo dude, the one cooking up the meal, bro, you're like sick shoes, bro, like you're sick, man, and just like hype everybody up. And like he's such a like radiant personality. He's just an amazing. He just loves
life, man. He just loves life. He's I remember like when Bren was just dancing alone in the Atlanta after party. When I had the video that I have when nobody's out there. Babybay gets out there. He's dancing, breaking it down. They had a dance off, I think, if I remember correctly.
Babybay slayed me.
He had a dance off.
He slayed me in a 1v1, both on the stage and off the stage. But that was a good event. That was a good time. Apart from
he's actually.
Anyway, I don't want to get too into it.
Babybay has also been playing his best Overwatch recently.
Yes.
Yes.
Like he's at his absolute peak right now when he's leaving. I mean, there's like, okay, I've been tweeting that I want Edison and Ursta to play as a duo for Atlanta because I feel like leaving Ursta on the bench is crazy. But there's no argument for me that if you want like the best hit scan player on the Atlanta Reign, it was Babybay. Like in terms of the 100%. Widow and the McCree and the Ash and that kind of stuff like that. Yeah, put Babybay in, of course. Yeah. He's that good.
What I find interesting as well, I just to touch back on this kind of retirement section as well, I think it's not the end of the world for a lot of these players as well if they want to move to another game, like Valorant or whatever, because I feel like with Overwatch, there will always be opportunities for them to probably come back into the Overwatch League at some point if they wanted to.
If they're still good, yeah.
If they're still good, yeah, that's a good point. But a lot of these guys are so talented, and I mean, they've been so consistently talented that I find it hard to believe that they would suddenly fall off the face of the earth if they try to get back into it, you know? And I think there's probably going to be a lot of fans as well that get a little bit insecure, that thought process. Like, well, if they left us because we weren't good enough, blah, 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 because they I don't know, they use Overwatch as a part of their identity. But I don't think you should really think like that. You know, I think you should just be willing to, I don't know, welcome.
Michael Jordan left basketball, and he was pretty good when he came back.
What is up with that might analogy? Be slightly different.
Huh?
You use that analogy every other episode. I bet you're not even a sports fan. You're actually not even a fan of the NBA. I guarantee you.
No, I am.
He's an MLB fan. That's why he loves.
Yeah, there's like only 3 things you would really know about me. It's like I love the NBA. Yeah.
Short beard loves NBA. Those are the 3 things I know about Matt.
Yep, short. Yep.
Who's your favorite player?
Matt actually bragged once, and this is confidential information I'm now leaking on stream. He once bragged that he didn't know like geography because he has Google Maps, and then said, "But I can list the past 50 years of number 1 NBA draft picks," and treated that like as a skill that was equal to geography and knowing.
Yeah, there's a sparkle.
Yeah, and he actually did, and then he took up the app right in front of me, and he started listing the number 1 draft picks from NBA for the past 40 years. And we'd sit in his car, because what happened was we were at the Blizzard Arena, we were waiting for casters to like finish a match, change wardrobe, get makeup off wherever. So we're sitting in Matt's car, and he's sitting there thinking to himself, I've never seen Matt so like quiet and just like thinking as hard as he has then. Just like 1974, who got drafted number 1 in the NBA. And then like 10 minutes later, it's just like, oh yeah, right.
Because I can remember by teams of like the previous year, like when I see like a team who had a pick for the previous year, and then I can think of who is in the league. I can think of who was the one in the past.
He can do it.
It's kind of bonkers.
Yeah, I use my brain for the right reasons.
I wouldn't have believed it unless you said, Johnny, but that is absolutely absurd that you can that you have that information.
No, kidding.
You guys learn a lot in these Plat Chat episodes. You learn a little bit about Overwatch, like that much about Overwatch, and then you learn about me being able to name NBA draft picks. You learn about juggling.
Who was the number 1 draft in 1990?
Hold on. Wait, it's harder without the teams. Last year was Zion.
Yep.
Year before that.
I mean, if you're going to go backwards from 2020, this is going to be hard.
Well, 90 was like... Trying to think. If you gave me the team name, I could probably guess it.
Can we get the team cut?
Team
New Jersey Mets.
Oh.
Mets? In
No,
NBA?
the Nets.
Nets.
Oh,
Sorry, I misheard. I don't know meat sports.
I don't think Jason Williams was the number 1 pick. Kenyon Martin was too... he'd be too young for it.
Wait, I can't read it. It's so small.
Good.
Yeah, nobody can read it. Was it Derek Coleman?
It was.
Yeah, it was.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
He was
ridiculous.
he's like a left-handed power forward. He played for like 15 years or something like that. He was never an all-star. He was never like super good.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah,
How long did he play for? What does it even say?
Insane.
The left-handed.
Yeah.
Left-handed was an effective.
He can shoot like threes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is how confident I am in this. I trust Matt to not even have brought up Wikipedia.
Kurt wants to do one more year. Kurt wants to do one more year. Let's do the year 2000. Let's go up in 10. Okay. What was the team?
2000.
What was the team?
Yeah, we're getting it. We're pulling it up. Sorry. New Jersey Nets again.
Wait, really? Again?
Yeah, it's
That's quite a coincidence.
Let's see.
I don't think Matt is Googling it. When he he doesn't have the look of Google in his eyes. He's trawling through the mind palace of NBA information.
So there's
right
like because I'm trying to think backwards, because they make the NBA Finals with Jason Kidd, and I believe it's in the early 2000s.
Who is it, Kurt?
And is it Kenyon Martin?
Yeah.
What is it, Kurt? Is it Kenyon Martin?
Oh my God.
Kenyon Martin. Yeah. He went to he played at the University of Cincinnati.
Wow.
That was the college he went to, right?
Unbelievable.
He played for Cincinnati. Yeah.
Yep. Well, there you go.
That's absurd.
That's actually astounding. I can't believe that. That is absolutely astounding. Wow, that's really magic. So what do we?
So cool.
What do we think of?
It's such an irrelevant skill, but it's so cool.
Yeah. What do we think then of the Atlanta Reigns look then post Babybay? Because I think they've fallen into the perfect meta if they were going to be running Erster and Edison.
Okay, so I want to say, so we talk about how good Shax is on Tracer, right? Like, I think Edison needs some more love on his Tracer. When you look at the stats, they are basically identical, and Edison even leads Shax in a lot of those categories. Where I think also it's much harder for Edison because the team has not really played well around him in regards for him to be able to do that. What I worry about, and what we saw from them this weekend, they didn't even play Ashe at all. No, just Tracer Genji.
I wouldn't be worried
we still
about
don't
that.
know. Yeah, you have to. We still don't know how they replaced Babybay. We didn't really learn much of anything at all in regards to that. All we know is that they were playing Tracer Genji, and they never even tried to play some kind of Ashe composition. They had no look for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder how that develops over time.
I think that Edison's stats are better because Atlanta has been 3-0ing people. And I think that actually he hasn't won many Tracer matchups actually this entire year.
So the one
Like
against
when
BQB, he got owned.
Against Yaki, right?
Well, if you watched a lot of that game.
Come on. That was not fair.
Because they played
He
against
got
BQB,
countered.
right?
Like their entire tactic was to shut down Edison. That was not a straight
that's
up
true.
1-on-1.
But also, I mean, earlier on in the league, I think didn't they play against the Houston Outlaws and Dante?
I think Dante really did a nice job, yeah.
And like he didn't get a chance to play against Shax, but I feel pretty confident that Shax would.
I mean, is Edison top 3 in the league? No. Is he a great tracer? Yes, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been performing well. I think it's got to be Edison though that picks up the Ashe Widow kind of stuff.
I don't think so. I think Sharp could do that if they wanted to.
Oh, you think they'll put Sharp on that?
No, I mean, I don't think they will. You know, I cannot foresee what Coach Brad is going to do. But I think that Edison has been so stable in his current tracer role that I feel like, I mean, they could just play Ashe Genji, like put Erster on the Genji and then put Edison on the Ashe. I mean, it depends on like what lineup you want to run, like hero picks. But
in general, I mean, just the exact same shit coming out from the Atlanta Reign, though. They 3-0 a team that's struggling, and then they lose to a team that's not struggling.
They played back to back.
Their entire season.
I can make a ton of excuses.
They played back to back, and then I also think Florida looked really good.
Yeah.
Well, they just had a game
series.
plan because they saw what Atlanta did and countered it.
Yeah,
I don't
Josh,
think you should read into it too much.
Right. How many other teams, with the way that Atlanta was playing this weekend, would they have lost to?
I don't think there's many, personally.
I think
I think they would have lost to Florida, Philly, Paris, and the Shock, probably. I think they looked pretty good to beat some of the other teams.
Valiant with Shax, they would have lost.
Valiant with Shax,
Valiant
probably.
without
After
Shax,
Valiant
they would have
made
beat.
improvements.
Yeah,
Valiant with Shax.
Valiant without Shax. I think that I don't think that you can be confident that they would beat Houston or Dallas, though. Even though those teams look shaky, like they just haven't beaten competent teams.
They beat the Valiant.
But the Valiant were playing without Shax. Like they didn't look competent. They were the same as they were in the Summer Showdown, like a bit of a mess.
Right.
A bit all over the place.
How good did Yaki look, by the way, just to bring that back real quick?
I think BQB looked really good on the Ashe, and then Gargoyle just that guy is sick.
Well, it's one thing to be good at the Ashe, but it's another thing to play that comp well as correctly. Because Valiant tried to run it, and KSP was having fantastic moments on the Ashe, but then Florida, I think, they played a lot more aggressively. Which
I think they're the only team that we saw play the comp correctly.
The Ashe comp and win.
No,
yeah,
the Genji
Ashe.
Everybody else, basically, when they saw Ashe, would commit to the dive and eventually roll it. I was talking about this during the cast. It was like Florida was the only team all weekend that really played the Ashe against dive and was able to win. Because in the series with the Valiant, they committed to the Ashe the entire time, and then Atlanta was able to dive them consistently and win the series. Florida just looked on another level with it.
They did look very good.
I think they played it properly.
I am curious though what would happen if Atlanta played more aggressive, because I'm still on the train thinking that Florida Mayhem had the most optimal play conditions this weekend. They saw what Atlanta Reign were doing. They countered it by playing probably the composition that they did in scrims, and then just applied a tactic, and it worked out. But what stood out to me was that Atlanta Reign players were so disappointed in their own performance, and obviously felt like they could have played better if they had brought it more aggressively. Pretty much all the players came out and were like, we didn't play aggressive enough. Had they played more aggressive, like they did on Route 66, this could have been a different series. I don't want to take anything away from the Florida Mayhem, but I'm interested to see how the compositions like square off against each other if the dive compositions plays
you're 100% right, Johnny.
to a Genji Tracer.
On Route 66, like during the halftime when I was talking with Mitch about it, all they did the first 2 maps in Atlanta is because it worked against the Valiant, to be fair, is they sent Edison in to try and just duel BQB. BQB was able to defend himself off, and then he would coach gun away. And like Gator or Erster, there was nobody there to meet him at that position without a movement ability and put pressure on him for the first 2 maps. They did that on Route 66 and they rolled them. And then they just didn't do it on the 4th map. So I definitely think with more aggressive play, it could have been a closer series, without a doubt.
You want to address the elephant in the room, or you want to keep on this topic?
What's the elephant in the room?
What's the elephant, Bren?
Wow. You want to talk about it?
Well, we don't know what it is, so...
T-Mobile?
Super's Genji.
Oh.
Super fucking Genji.
Is Super's Genji actually good? Because I'm of the opinion of no.
Why?
Because he
Wait,
played
do we want
against...
to announce what we're doing first?
Yeah.
Go on, then.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, if you tune in at the exact... Wait, no, not the exact same time. An hour later. Yeah,
Wednesday.
But when this comes out, it'll be Tuesday, so it will be tomorrow.
What do you mean? We do this live. What are you talking about?
Wednesday, 11 a.m. PST. Convert it to your time zones. It's not that hard.
Wednesday, yep. The day after Tuesday. We're going to do a live review of Super's Genji. We're going to do a YouTube live stream on the Plat Chat channel where we look at Super's Genji. Unfortunately, Super can't be there to join us, but we are going to do an in-depth rewatch of the Master at Work.
Okay, but a few things to consider here. Just a couple of things. Just a couple of things to add to the list. Played against Boston.
Yep.
Who were playing Reaper, Genji, Moira, Lucio compositions.
Yeah.
They play.
There it is, dude.
And this stat card triggered the shit out of me when I saw this on the Comp Overwatch subreddit, because those goddamn armchair analysts are so hypocritical without even realizing it. They're like, oh, the analysts, I hate how they always cherry pick stats, blah, 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 blah. What the fuck are you doing here? This was the most upvoted post on competitive Overwatch. These dumbasses picking out specific stats from specific matches when Super played against the goddamn Boston Uprising. You dumb fucks. Like, what are you doing?
I totally agree.
He was good.
No, Matthew.
I
had to tweet this, Matt, because when I heard you say this on broadcast,
I knew you were gonna read this.
I nearly lost it. Matt said at some point, bro, if you took the name off, you might not be able to tell if this was Architect or Rascal. And I like, as my little armchair analyst Twitter brain just crawled out of my eyeballs, I was forced to type, Matthew believes that this is the same as Architect or Rascal. Get the fuck out of here.
Dude, have you seen Architect play the Genji for Hangzhou? It hasn't looked that good.
It has.
It has looked good, Matt.
It looked really good this
Super
week.
on Hangzhou and they'd be just as good.
It has looked good. I don't think it was that good. Like, even, did you see the message between him and Space?
No, what was that?
Where Space asked him, Space asked Super, is it you playing Genji in the scrims? It wasn't even, it was on Space's Instagram story like 2 days ago, I think. He didn't post it.
Dude,
He said, is it you playing the Genji in scrims? And Super was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And then Space is like, do you fuck? We are farming you.
I
didn't think it was bad.
I think you can tell that he's not confident taking duels. He takes a long time to figure out what he wants to do at all times. Like, he's not quick to make his decisions on the hero. He's clearly not comfortable, but he is really smart. Like, his positioning, he just goes in, gets the dashes. Like, he's never extending himself further than his mechanical abilities.
I would say go back and watch map 3. The first 2 maps, he was like a little hesitant at times. Map 3, he was like making plays. He was way more aggressive and played way more open. On Route 66. Like, he was doing a nice job, like sitting in front of their spawn doors, spawn camping. Do I think he's the best Genji in the league? Nah, I love you, Super, but I just don't think so. do I think in a combination, like let's say they did tryouts, right? And he looks the best. With Striker and Smurf and Choi and Violet, do they need a Genji to just run around and dominate? They just need somebody who plays pretty safe with the dive.
Of course, which is argument number
If they
one.
want to win Countdown Cup,
Yeah.
yes, Matt,
But
they need a Genji.
The question is,
like, do
do
they
they?
actually? Wait there. Let's tackle Johnny's question first.
Can you not do this?
I think with the power of Striker Tracer and the coordination of the Shock, they might get away with winning against good teams with Super.
Are you? What? Or have you inhaled?
I agree as well.
In the Lord's name, Jesus burning bushes have you inhaled?
I'm not saying that
if you believe that this team can beat Philly or Paris Eternal and get away with it,
I think they
how
can.
you're saying that San Francisco's 5 are better than Paris Eternal's 6?
No,
or
because he's
better
not.
than
No,
Philadelphia 6.
He
No, he's
doesn't
not
need
just
to win the game.
All right, he's not feeding and he's not making horrible decisions. He is just playing like the most basic, all brain, no aim version of Genji that you possibly can.
If you honestly believe, yes, I'm not saying that Super Genji is bad. I don't think Super Genji was particularly bad. He minimized his mistakes. He played passively. Yes, I agree with you, Josh. It was solid. It works against bottom teams. But if you honestly believe that this team could be the best team in the world with Super Genji and win a tournament,
yeah.
It depends. If the Shock have better team coordination and Striker is dominant, then I actually kind of do. Like,
well, Johnny,
this
is an insult
Johnny, would you rather
to
have
every professional player in the Overwatch
No,
scene.
it's not. Would you
Think
rather
about
have
other esports though, Johnny? Many other esports have had like one player that is just poo and have still won championships. Like sometimes you look back and you're like, holy shit, like that guy is normally like the IGL or Shot Caller or something who's just ass at mechanics, but they still manage to win championships. I feel like this is almost what we've got, like right here.
Would you rather have, like, you already have Striker and Smurf and Violet. Would you rather have a Genji who takes a lot of risks and feeds and could lose you fights, or somebody who plays really safe and coordinated with the team?
I'll be real with you guys.
If San Francisco Shock win the Countdown Cup, I will shave my head.
Specifically
With Super Genji, with Super Genji, that time series, yes.
Okay, but here's my argument. I think that Shock are so good in that team environment that is Super Genji actually good is the question. I cannot
I don't think
say.
It's bad.
I cannot
is it
say.
above average?
I think that Shock would have won if I was playing Genji for them.
No, because you would have fed and they would have genuinely been playing 5v6.
No.
That's the key. It's like
I wouldn't
Super
have fed.
plays really smart, but
I wouldn't
you
have fed.
would have fed. You would
I
have
would not have
giga
fed.
fed.
Nope.
I think there's only one way to settle this. I think there's only one way, and this is a direct call out to Brett. I think there's only one way to settle this, and this is a Bren versus Super 1-on-1 Genji matchup for a contract to round out the suffering San Francisco squad.
I'll be real with you.
Sinatra is gone. Architect is gone. Player is in need for this Shock roster.
Shred Bren.
Absolutely
Play
not.
him for a contract.
Also, by the way, can't fucking play games at the moment, can I? So
unlucky then.
But
they wouldn't have won with you.
But when I had my hand intact, when I had my hand intact, and Super was playing Genji on a regular basis on stream, I came into his chat and I said, "Super, listen. Anytime you want a 1v1, son, and anytime you want a bit of a warm up, you hit me up." Do you know what he did? Fucking egoed me, didn't he?
Of course he did.
No,
he egoed me in the chat. Do you know why?
There's no reason to.
Because he's scared.
Well, yeah, because his mechanics aren't good. Like, he's not going to be dueling people in games. There's no way he's going to be taking duels against other
But he
Genjis.
doesn't need to, though.
Does he know he'd lose?
Oh, he might at some point, though. Like, he needs to get into position for these dives. So I can see... I mean, if they did play against top teams, I think there's a chance that Shock.
Do you think he'll play Genji?
Big weakness.
Do you think he'll play Genji against Florida?
Is that who they're playing next?
Yes. Right? I believe so. I believe they have 2 matches.
Anyway, Listen, we're going to get down to the root of this.
Fucking licking toads.
Yeah,
this is unbelievable.
We're going to get down to the root of this on Wednesday. On Wednesday with the live stream where we're going to do a live review of Super's Genji. Now, I don't know if I ever agree to this. I might be busy. You know, I might have stuff on, so I don't know if I'm busy.
You definitely agree to it. We talked about it today.
We'll see. Anyway, I wasn't there for that. Anyway, let's move on. Well, we're going to talk about the 2020 Grand Finals announcement that happened. Which they just announced the format for the Grand Finals. It's going to be happening in a LAN environment, presumably. Is it? Yeah, I believe it's a LAN environment.
No, they said that it was going to be a. So they're traveling to the same area.
Okay.
Region, yes.
Region. Okay, so maybe not a LAN, but they will be playing from the same city, which will minimize
reduce the lag. Yeah.
Yeah, the same area as well. I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. They're planning miles in advance. That, you know, at the moment, I think aren't all foreigners banned from entering China right now or something, and you have to be in a 14-day quarantine for Korea. Like, it's still a bit up in the air. They're trying to keep things loosey goosey for now.
But it's more likely that it will be occurring in Korea, just on the basis that they've got their shit together.
I mean,
I assume
so, but who knows?
You would assume so. I think it's the best solution because I think people would have been unhappy. I don't think people would have been unhappy. I think people would have understand the circumstances if there was just like 2 different champions this year.
But we are getting the best out of this. Like, we are going to get one singular champion, and it is cross-region play. It's what we're all looking for.
And mind you,
be fire.
Blizzard, like in all of esports, right? They don't really have like LAN with BattleNet, right? Like, you still have like, it's like kind of like a created LAN, like private area.
It is still
like,
LAN.
I mean, it is LAN.
What is the ping? Still think they get like some ping on it.
No, I don't think so. It's a LAN.
Johnny, you played on it. What is it like?
I'm still boomed.
I can't even. He's not even
I haven't listened to a single word. I'm just sitting in silence.
It's definitely LAN.
Right. But I feel like having them all in the same area will still be a better gameplay experience than like what we have in NA or whatnot. Like, it'll still be better. It'll be close.
Especially if it's in Korea, the ping is going to be like 5.
Right. That's what I was kind of getting at. It's going to be the ping is going to be minimal. It's going to be like 10 or 5 or something along those lines.
And at that point, it's like such a small difference.
It's so close to
anyway,
it.
Also, all 20 teams are going to be in the playoffs, which I think is super important. You know, or at least they all have a chance to be able to get into the playoffs. I think there's going to be some like knockout games or qualifiers or something for the 13 teams in North America. But it's absolutely necessary because some of these teams have just, like Chengdu, for example, are the last team in Asia, but they've just beaten New York. So you can see in Asia that it's all over the place.
I also like as well, we get the final 4 that go to the kind of final type of thing. And it's a double limit. It's like almost like one like GSL type of bracket, right? So you'll get to see the best in NA versus the best in APAC, which I think's kind of been a discussion all year of which one's better.
There's a chance that it is just a roll all the way to the finals.
What do you mean?
For one side, for one meta to be the supreme meta. I think there's a chance of that because you've got to think as well that there's already differences in the meta in the way that teams play right now on the patches. It's been like that for weeks now. That's still going to be the case, but the difference is those teams that are playing in the playoffs will not be able to scrim against teams with those play styles because of the ping differences. So you're going to find a scenario. Well,
I think that it's okay. So if you're say the finals happen in Asia, in Korea or something, right? And you're an American team, you are going to be traveling over there, and you'll have like jet lag and quarantine and whatever that might be like downsides to it. But your positive side is if your meta's better, then the local teams can't really practice against any other good teams.
Yeah.
But if their meta is better, you can learn directly from like all of the Korean contenders teams, the other OWL teams that might still be trying to put mixes together and that kind of stuff. So like traveling over to another region is almost an advantage in terms of preserving your meta because you can learn from them, but they can't learn from you.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. But I'm just saying, guys, I'm going to set you up. Could be a one-sided finals. Could be.
I mean, all of our finals so far have been mega one-sided. So anything that's not a role is fantastic.
Anything that's a
it's
little
not
bit
an incredibly hot take, yeah.
Yeah, but all good changes and good announcements all around. Let's move on. If nobody else wants to add anything.
No, Johnny's still booed.
Yeah. This next section, I'll be real with you guys. I'm just gonna stay out of this one. It's the week 25 power rankings.
Why are you staying out of it?
Oh, because maybe I may have missed a game or two on the first day of matches. And,
you would never.
Well, I have a valid excuse. I have a valid excuse. My body didn't function.
Oh, okay.
So,
did you say you were hungover previous in the episode?
So hungover, yeah. So hungover. And so I kind of just watched the games, but was really just kind of thumbing and ahhing over my finger, and then I went to the doctors. I went to urgent care while the matches were going.
So really, it's not going to be much different than any other time we do power rankings.
You're completely right. So let's put Shocker number 1 and let's move on.
Oh, I meant in terms of like your contribution to them.
Yeah, I mean that's my contribution every week, is being one of the people who's fighting for Shock to be number 1.
Who is fighting against Shock to be number 1?
Why are you putting yourself down, Bren? I think you're one of the pillar pieces of this power ranking segment because you're the contrarian and you help us reach good conclusions. You bring out the analysis. You're fulfilling your host role. Anyway, let's move.
Are you confusing Bren for Josh?
Houston Outlaws. Let's move them below the Dallas Fuel.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable.
Atlanta.
Okay, Valiant.
I would say Atlanta move up, but I would expect Valiant to be better than them.
I think you have to put Atlanta above them, though, for now. They beat them.
Yeah,
Gladiators above Vancouver.
Well, before Valiant figured stuff out, so.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, this is going to be controversial. Right? This is going to be controversial, but I think I would still put Valiant above Atlanta. Even though they've lost to them, because I think on day 2 when they played Shax on the Tracer and they were playing the Genji Tracer compositions, I would have thought they would have beaten Atlanta.
I think it would have been really close, but you can't say for sure.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
but this is the kind of controversy you need.
I think you got Atlanta above.
Well, it was worth a shot.
I get what you mean, Brent, but they did, like, the Valiant played against Boston, so of course they're going to look amazing. Yeah. And even though I do think it would have been close, you can't take away what actually happened.
One thing I want to say is we didn't get to see them play this week, but I am so excited to see Philly play in this meta. With like a Carpe, Tracer, EQO, Genji, and then a Sato back on Winston, maybe Fury on like the Diva and the Sigma, and then Alarm on Zen. I think Philly has a potential to be crazy good this meta.
What about Gladiators over Toronto? Because I know that Toronto made the top 4 in the Summer Showdown, but their slow style of play, I'm gonna be honest, I hate it. I feel like it just can't win against the top team. And the Gladiators looked good recently. I know that the Gladiators have looked shocking for a while, but they made large improvements in this last week. They actually look like they know how to play the game again.
Well, I don't love the move. I'm not gonna fight it though.
Yeah, I think it's a bit. I don't want to say. I mean, Toronto.
Would you feel robbed as a Toronto fan?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I feel like every time that Toronto fans tune into this show, they feel robbed.
This is going to be a very disrespectful opinion.
I like it.
I think that the hero pool helped the Gladiators more. Like, how do I frame this even? Like,
what do you mean?
They were like the hero pool came in, Orisa got removed. And it helped Gladiators become a better team more than they actually did improve on themselves.
Oh yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. It got rid of their weakest heroes and put them on their best heroes.
Yeah. I can't talk. Sorry, it's been a long day.
I agree with you. They've always looked better in that situation. Yeah, I'm fine with Toronto being above them.
Are you sure?
Let's give a W to Toronto.
I don't know. I think if you're a Gladiators fan, you're probably going to get a little bit pissed off at that.
Well, they only beat the Titans.
Well, then you just put them down again.
Yeah, I mean, they beat the Titans.
They have looked pretty shocking recently. The Gladiators
they lost to Washington. They lost to Boston. That was like over a month ago, but still.
They lost to Boston, dude. They should be below the Defiant.
But that was over a month ago.
That was a while ago.
They lost to Boston. They should be below
the Defiant.
We think about
the bottom 3 here.
Oh, ain't no change in the bottom three.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You just can't change the bottom three, can you? Boston just got rolled twice.
But
I'm kind
feel
of
so
sad.
bad for Boston.
I want to say about the Washington Justice. I was pretty hard on them this past weekend. And I want to say that the only reason I was so hard on them was because I thought that they found the recipe for success with what they played in the Summer Showdown. They were pretty aggressive. They had 2 on the Genji. They went in. They took space. And then everything just went out the window
Me and
when
Josh
they played
casted that
Toronto
game.
Defiant. They were actually pretty close. Sorry. Yeah, they did play Toronto. Yeah, they played Toronto. Yeah,
No,
like, they did look good on Ilios. Like that
Wait.
was a close map. They were in their comfort roles.
Yeah, it was Toronto.
Yeah. And they had Raw on Winston, Johnny on Diva.
The
Stitch
trouble
was popping off.
with that game was it rotted my brain.
I hated it. It was like what? It was straight up the worst series I've casted, and it was
really
one of the most boring series I've watched as well. It reminded me of just Justice from last year, where they were just hopeless.
Yeah, it wasn't a good match. Anyway,
Yeah, you literally. I was gonna say, Sideshow literally said on the official Overwatch League broadcast that Washington were entertainment thieves. It's like on the official broadcast of the league, you were like, they're entertainment thieves.
That's what the people need to know, though. They need the real. You know?
Does anything change in APAC?
No, sorry, ignore APAC. I've got a very controversial opinion.
Okay.
You're just saying shit to say shit now.
Philly at number 1.
But come the fuck, they didn't play.
Yeah, I know.
Hold on.
I think Philly needs to be at number 1.
Shut the fuck up. Last week, when we did the power rankings, and they got second in the Summer Showdown, I was like, oh, they should maybe be number 1 because of what they've done the whole year, whatever. And everyone was like, no, that's dumb. You were like, oh, there's no way we can put them at number 1. And now, without having seen them play at all, you're willing to concede to my argument from last week that they should be number 1.
No, I have been given new information, and I have processed it, and I have come to the conclusion that I think Philly would be the best team in this hero pool out of the top 3.
I agree. I think Philly...
think they would be able to adapt. They would be able to play the Tracer Genji comps and intertwine it with the
and
Ashe
they can
Tracer
play
comps,
Ashe comps as well because
comps. And I think they would be able to do it quite well compared to Shock and compared to Paris.
So you want us to guess that Philadelphia Fusion will be the best team next week, and then when the hero pool is gone, you want us to remove them because it won't be the same meta.
I just can't believe
guessing for them to be number 1 for 1 week, and then we go back because there's no.
I argued for this based off of facts, and you said no, and now just a shot in the dark. Oh yeah,
it's not a shot in the dark,
they could be.
We know that Carpe is very good at hit scan. We know he's a good Tracer player as well. And we also know that they've been looking pretty good with the Genji comps, like EQO's Genji.
You don't guess these things.
What about
I don't think it's a shot in the dark.
I feel pretty confident that Philly will be a better team than Paris.
Do you though? I think that's a bit of a hot take.
But what if I was gonna say, but what if Philly was number 1, Paris was 2, and Shock was 3?
Get the fuck out of here! Come on, this is just pure speculation.
I'd be down for that. I'd actually be down for that.
It's pure speculation.
Well, what? Yeah, of course.
But it's
not, of course.
But that is what the purpose of this is. Is this not?
No.
Is this not to see what we are looking into in the future?
What the fuck, dude?
Paris should be impressing you. They've been playing comps that aren't just Sparkle carrying, and they've been performing really well. Like the Hagfist comps have all been executed really well. They've integrated Soon very nicely into the lineup. Their kind of brawl stuff has all been good. They're the most well-rounded of the top 3 teams right now. And
okay,
laissez-faire.
I concede.
Well, Bren just started an argument for no reason. He's like, how could I start an argument? Let me tell them that the team that didn't play should be number 1.
I concede. You guys have got it.
All right, let's talk about APAC.
Yep.
Spark number 3?
So interesting. Look at that. They went from
There was one
number
match.
6
Honestly,
to number 3.
Put Shanghai and Guangzhou in their own thing and put everybody else in the Chengdu zone.
Okay. Is that fair?
Who do you have above Spark? Like, I don't think you put Seoul there. You can't put New York there.
No, yeah, you kind of have.
Well, okay. So we come out. We have we have a weekend full of upsets. Okay, it's literally chaos. The world is on fire because all the good teams lost in the first round of the Summer Showdown. We come onto Plat chat. We're looking forward to this power ranking segment. The whole community is awaiting this prophetical, monumental, staple pillar segment in the best show in the Overwatch community. And Sideshow comes in and he says, I don't think we should read into it too much. Literally, the next week, new meta, teams are pretty ill prepared because it's a messy hero pool. Sideshow comes in. Let's put Hangzhou at number 3 that have been sucking ass for the past month so much that you're hesitated to even believe that the architect is even good in the first
showdown.
place.
But they haven't they had 2 weeks of sucking.
They really sucked in those 2 weeks.
They really sucked.
But I'll listen, Josh. I'll back you up here a little bit. Which might be
fucking king of recency bias is back.
This might be
absolute pape.
This might be pretty bad, but we've seen Hangzhou do this before. Think back to 2019. Think back to the structure of this team and how they were trying to cement it until they finally settled on Gushwei. And it took them a bit of time to get themselves with some stable foundations. I think the same has happened with the introduction of QOQ and Architect. I think they just needed a bit of time to integrate those players into the calling structure. Sure. And they need a lot of time, to be fair, because you're working with 2 different languages.
You're overcomplicating this. The top 2 teams between Shanghai and Guangzhou are going to continue to beat the crap out of those teams. And then those 5 teams on a random thing are just going to continually beat each other in a round circle. And we're just going to keep moving random teams to that 3rd position for the rest of the time. Okay. That's what's going to happen. This is
my time. This is my time.
Chengdu will beat like Hangzhou, and then Chengdu will beat 3. Yeah, I mean.
I am pleading to everyone watching on YouTube, please leave a comment down below, because I'm wondering if I'm going actually mad trying to discuss power rankings with these guys. Subscribe and hit the bell too. Leave a comment down below and tell me whether these fools are actually correct in that Hangzhou should be number 3, because I feel like my sanity is like slowly like spilling out of my ears, and it's like wet, and I just have to go wipe this dreadful slob up because I cannot sit here in this chair and listen to this any longer.
Who do we put above them other than Shanghai, Guangzhou?
It doesn't matter, because whoever we put above them is going to lose to like London, and then you're going to be like, hey, we got to move these people up. Like,
but I think Hangzhou would beat all those teams that are above.
I think they'd have really close games against New York and maybe London.
I don't know, man. New York's
loss was a one-off.
I'm inclined to agree.
New York needs to go down.
Down?
Yes.
No. It was a one-off. They got Chengdu.
Yeah, I think
they should be above Seoul.
I don't give a fuck. Chengdu, we need to stop. We need to stop putting some respect.
Bren's mic during this segment.
We need to stop putting some respect on the name of Chengdu. Yes, this is the screenshot I want to see posted.
Oh my.
No, I think
I'm actually surrendering. I am waving the white flag. I will no longer take part in this segment.
What are we doing here? I think New York need to be last.
What if we had
Shut up. As much as ZP and Wolf can mold about New York just falling to pieces, they just got classic Chengdu. They just got upset by the Chengdu Hunters. It's a classic move. The Chengdu have done it to many teams. It doesn't mean you're bad. You just got upset.
No.
New York plays Guangzhou this week.
Okay, so the question is between New York and Hangzhou for 3rd spot. Like, I assume, Johnny, that you still want New York to be at number 3 then.
I refuse to participate in this segment any longer.
I'm okay with New York being 3 or 4. I'm okay with either one.
The reason that I think that the reason I will accept the recency bias this week as being truth rather than just recency bias is that you expect when teams integrate new players for there to be like a downswing and then them to figure shit out. And I think this is Spark figuring shit out. I don't think this is a random upswing. I think this is the beginning of where we're going to see the Spark for the rest of the year. Is like a competent team that can play dive and they can play. It wasn't like they just played only one meta this week as well. They played dive really well and they played Reinhardt Century Comps really well. And they beat a Seoul Dynasty that weren't shitting the bed. So I feel all right about Spark. I feel like they should be at number 3, but I'll accept number 4. If we want to be non-recency bias Randys, we can put New York and then Spark.
I give up.
I'll say let's put Spark and then New York.
Yeah,
for now.
I give up. You guys can do whatever the fuck you want.
And I think Chengdu still stay in last place, by the way, despite playing well this week.
Yeah.
Because they've just had weeks of being dreadful.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. All right. Solid. Johnny's checked out.
This is
Am I supposed to? What am I supposed to do now?
I don't know. What's up next?
Oh, some goddamn prediction.
We always have.
We're gonna go through these predictions quick now. And what was the first match? I don't even know. Oh, look at this. Ooh, actually.
Wow. Okay.
Chengdu. Look, Chengdu only goes to the Chengdu zone and sucks somebody in every once in a while.
You don't think they can do it twice in a row?
No, I don't think so. I think their magic is only good for a little bit. They run out of some mana, dude. They're not able to regen, and then they're done.
Interesting, because I thought I was going to be the only one going for Chengdu here.
I thought
really.
I thought me and Bren might end up doing it, but that was it.
But Johnny surprises me.
I won the only one last week where I was on the one side of things, and then I got it right.
No way.
Johnny, why?
Yeah, which one was it?
I think
maybe over Valiant.
Yeah, I think so.
Why, Johnny?
Because I think that Chengdu are back in their vanilla flavored kind of style where they play super aggressive. I think that this hero pool really suited them because there's no Orisa, etc. They really looked like they play with confidence, aggressively, ruthlessly. I think that Seoul generally has been a team that struggles to adapt. I still think Seoul Dynasty is a great team, but I can see them struggling to deal with the chaos that Chengdu brings to the table. And I think ultimately you will kind of have to rely on Profit playing maybe Sombra to try to shut this team down. Which, you know, I am the first one to promote Profit's name and believe in him. But when you're seeing Seoul Dynasty struggle with their front line, whether they're playing Gesture or Michelle and Marvel, then they have to decide between their damage players, who's going to play the Genji. Is Illicit going to come in? Is Profit going to play it? Who's going to play a Sombra to counter Wrecking Ball? Is Sombra even countering Wrecking Ball anymore?
You're naming off every hero in the game right now.
There's so many things that go into this strategically for Seoul Dynasty that I think Chengdu Hunters will just roll in and just fuck them up.
I also refuse to pick Chengdu because I had to stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning to cast a game in A-Pack where Genji was dominant and they didn't play Jinmu.
Yeah. They did that. They did this time.
Let's switch it over. What's the next one? Oh, this is an interesting one. Well,
okay.
No surprises.
Is it?
It's the number 1 team right now in the world.
Dude, Philly, look, I want to see them play, but they have all of the, like how Johnny was saying, like this is perfect for the Gladiators, like what all of their players want to play. This is like the same for Philly, but they're just better. Or they should be, in theory, be better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this has the potential to be a nasty meta for Philly. The thing is, though, I mean, like, Philly weren't ever the best dive team. Like, even when dive was being played a lot, they were up there for sure, and they had, like, crazy potential, but they were always, like, crazy individual instead of just having really clean dives.
The king of recency bias is looking through the goddamn archives.
Well, when else have you seen these guys play
archives?
Well, Josh, you can't say that because now they have Fury, they have Funny Astro, they have Alarm. It's like a way different team than what we've seen them do in the past.
Different. It's still Sado, Kappa, and EQO. I mean, that's pretty.
It's 50% of the team.
Sado never played back then. It was Fraggy. So yeah. It is quite different. But these players are still quite individual. They're not like they're not the Shock. They're not team coordination above all else. They're going to try and clutch things.
I will say, a few episodes back, we kind of discussed, I think it was during Power Rankings when I said that Philly should be number 1. We were trying to figure out, like, is there a meta in which Philly had the roster to be the best team in NA? This may be a meta where they could be the best team in NA compared to everywhere else.
Yep, that's why we should have put them at number 1 in the Power Rankings.
I think this is going to be a straight copy of the main Melee North American semifinals between the Philadelphia Fusion and quarterfinals between Philadelphia and Gladiators. And I think we're going to see 2 dive teams come out, and Philadelphia are going to win. But Gladiators will put up a good fight because OG Winston is good.
Yeah, it is good. All right, what's next on the docket?
The next one is the Gladiators versus. Wait, no. Whoops. Whoa, it's Chengdu.
Whoa, this one's way on. You didn't want to go with Chengdu against Seoul, but you wanted to go with Chengdu against Plat.
That's argument.
I knew this was coming out too.
Bro, Matt, what the fuck are you doing?
Look, my gamble paid off last week.
Your gamble, bro. Hold up. Hold the fucking front door.
So when you got all the chips, you throw them in.
You just said I am never picking Chengdu. You just said I am never picking Chengdu again because I had to stay up until 5 a.m. and they didn't play Jimmy or Genji. What is this?
Yeah, but I thought it would be funny to say I would never do that and then submit this pick and see what would happen if he picks later. Because Chengdu always, they can always suck you into the Chengdu zone. I don't think it'll happen, but in the off chance it does, I want to be right.
But Matt, why would you predict? Why would
For the same reason I took Atlanta over the Valiant.
Right, but
you just get a vibe. You just get a vibe.
Seoul have been playing like dive shit, which Chengdu's comp is good against. Spark have been playing like McCree Ryan stuff that's actually good against Chengdu's comp, and they've been playing that well. And they can also play the dive.
I think Chengdu excels when they shouldn't excel, and then when they should be good, they're bad. So I feel like that's gonna go on this game.
Next game.
Johnny, what do you think?
Please.
I agree with Sideshow.
Gladiators Paris. We all pick Paris.
Yeah. Why did we not do predictions for Shock Mayhem, by the way?
I mean, do you think that's what? I mean, yeah.
Did you not see that game?
I mean, I didn't. No. I kind of forgot that was happening. That is a good game, though. Should we just talk about?
Sorry, the guy who worked 3 days of broadcast and then came off broadcast and wrote the rundown for Plat chat. Forgot to mention
Josh does one game a week.
When what you guys did was sitting on a couch and show your crotch to the entire world as you were discussing Boston Uprising and the Valley.
One game Andy down there.
You know, there was a possibility there to help out, especially when I tagged everyone. I tagged everyone in Discord to help, and no one responded.
You did.
Well, I know.
I got ignored by my friends.
Kurt said if you send over the predictions, he'll make the graphic right now.
I don't think we need to make a graphic though, do we? We can just
we can wing it, Kurt.
Matt lied. He didn't respond. The Discord log does not show anything. Josh shows.
So what would you guys pick?
I would still pick the Shock. I think that like I said previously, I think there's a good chance that Shock can win even if they have Super Genji.
This should be a double prediction. The first is does Super play Genji in this match. The second should be who wins.
Fucking hell.
The safe pick is Rascal Genji.
Even if they play Rascal Genji, I think they lose this. I think Florida takes it.
You think?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that impressive? I think they're only going to play Genji Ashe, though, right? Like, that's what Mayhem's going to do?
Yes.
And you don't think that Shock are going to be able to dive it? You don't think the Strike is good enough to pressure out the coach gun and then dive onto the BQB? Like, I feel like they're going to...
I agree with Josh. I think even if they play Super on Genji, I still think they can win this series.
I think Shock is going to win, but because I think they're playing the superior composition. I think Tracer Genji with a Zenyatta and Brig is stronger than an Ashe Genji. And, you know, did Florida played BAP?
Yes, they put Byram in. They played Byram a lot.
I think Violet and Twilight are just gonna feed on fanboy tears and just take over this game. And Striker is gonna. I mean, there's so many good players in Shock. I think they're playing the superior composition, and I think they have a better backline and Striker on the team, and I think that's enough.
So I am the sole one predicting this
Florida,
game.
yeah.
But Johnny, you do think then that the Shock will win even if they play Super on Genji?
I do.
You don't think Yaki will just find ways to dual
I think
dual Super and him out the fights, and they'll just get a big
I can't even believe I'm saying that.
The adaptation here, the adaptation is not for Yaki to kill Super. The adaptation is for a good team versus a good Genji. Is first of all of where like the Brigitte look and how much attention a Winston pays to a Genji. Because a Winston is the counter to the Genji. The Winston is the one who has to leap onto Genjis, use the Tesla cannon, because Tesla cannon goes through the reflect, etc. So it comes down to how much someone like Fate will actually sit on top of the San Francisco's Genji. If Super plays the Genji, I think Fate has way more freedom on the Winston to focus on other shit. And I think that can be like a win condition for the Mayhem in that case.
I think the series will look a lot like how when Atlanta, because remember back when Atlanta played Florida, when Atlanta actually played aggressive, they rolled over them. The Shock will play that aggressive the entire game.
Yeah.
The Shock will be that aggressive.
I think they might get dismantled, and I think that they might be the same caliber of teams. I think the difference in abilities of Genji players is not apparent right now because Shock have played against Boston, but I think it does make a big difference in this meta. And I think
how
that
can you look? Sorry,
but I don't.
Sorry, go on, Bren. No, let Bren finish. Sorry.
Yeah, go.
And I think we're underestimating Yaki a little bit as well, just in terms of his performance. I thought Yaki played really, really well. It's rare, I think, these days to find a player that can do it on both Tracer and Genji, at least in the modern era of Overwatch that we're in.
I would say this though, like, because Florida is only playing Ashe Genji compositions, it's not like Super is going to be under this incredible amount of pressure being harassed by a Tracer here, a Genji there. Like, it's going to be kind of like what Johnny was saying, like just diving and being aggressive on the Ashe. And can Florida protect him? Like, I don't know. I think they did it against Atlanta, but once Atlanta got any semblance of aggression, it all crumbled. And it wasn't even Urster who was popping off for Atlanta. It was Edison and it was Gator who were able to pick up the kills onto BQB. So I think Genji is extremely important, but I also think he's very strong. Where in the hands of a smart player and somebody who's like playing it in off role like Super, I still think they can win, which is saying Super Genji is still odd, but
okay. Let's do this for a hypothetical, because we've done so many hypotheticals this episode, and Sideshow loves doing this apparently. Are you ready?
Yep.
Do you think the Philadelphia Fusion would have made the finals of their summer showdown with Super Genji instead of EQO?
No
what?
way. I think that meta was way more about like putting all of your resources in the Genji and letting them carry. I think this meta is almost not quite the opposite, but it's, if you're playing dive, it's way more on your Tracer and your Winston.
Okay, it's just hypothetical.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I think that this is I do think though that there's when you watch the teams play at the moment, there's a lot of Genji duels, like or not Genji duels, but you're using your dash and like your quick melee just to punish the Genji if they get too like aggressive. Yeah. And if they get weakened a little bit and they don't react quick enough to disengage, like a lot of the time the enemy Genji will just like dash in and quickly kill that Genji and they'll be like the first pick in the fights. I think that could happen to Super a lot, but if he can be smart enough to stay out of those situations, I think the Strike is good enough to win this for them.
Yeah.
Is
Rascal Genji.
Yeah, I don't think so, personally.
Or do you think that do you think there's a reason that they're playing Super Genji over Rascal?
Yes.
What do you think?
I think it was a match against the Boston Uprising, and we shouldn't read into it.
I don't think they're the kind of team that would do that. I think genuinely they wanted to try out a possibility because they're not that happy with Rascal's Genji.
I think there's a possibility that Rascal plays a little bit too risky for what they want to do, and that they know that if they just play a good dive built around Smurf and Striker that has consistent play, maybe it's a better option.
It could come down to risk, but I think it's more. It's genuinely the Shock are in a pretty piss poor position because they don't have Architect anymore, and they are searching for an alternative. And
but they
if they're willing
be, right?
to,
like Rascal has been good in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, another hypothetical for you. Did you see that image that Krusty put on Twitter where Super was essentially begging to play Genji?
Yeah.
Do you think he would have begged Krusty, the coach of Shock, to play Genji if he was not the best Genji on the team? Do you think he would have had to spam Krusty in Discord and ask to play Genji?
Because do you think Krusty was going to take him seriously if Super came over and said, "Hey, I've been working on my Genji, put me in"? Like Krusty was probably looking at him like, "The fuck are you talking about?" Like but he's been grinding it out on stream.
You think that Super, who is a 4200 Genji with a negative record on stream, do you think that
to say I've just got my Instacart order, and the guy has just ran away with my groceries.
Oh.
Okay.
Cool.
Sorry, continue.
Okay.
Johnny, what were you saying?
Yeah, Johnny, what were you talking about?
You were saying a 4200 Genji with a losing record.
I think Johnny's
the best option.
I think I'm so over this.
I think about it. Most of those losses are probably when he's fucking around.
No. I don't think so. I think that if you play Genji in solo queue, you rely way more on like an intuitive understanding of how to play the hero. When he plays it for the Shock, he just has to know what the Shock is doing. He's like perfectly in tune with them. Whereas you're never going to be in tune. You need to rely way more on yourself in solo queue.
I'm having this like existential crisis where I'm like, am I the wrong? Am I the wrong? No,
is it?
I kids who are wrong.
Is it because? So let's say it was another main tank player in the league doing this. Would it be as ridiculous? Because I think there's a part of the reason why it's so ridiculous because it's the #1 team and it's like Super just because he's like a loud personality. Where let's say for argument's sake we got word out of I don't know. Let me use let's say for I was gonna say no that would just be ridiculous. I was gonna say what if Fate was the best Genji on the
I think we need to move on. We need to move on. We need to move away from this.
What if Mono was the best Genji?
The three of you have predicted a Shock. I have predicted Florida.
Yeah.
Did Johnny actually predict the Shock?
Yeah,
I think he did.
Okay. I did predict the Shock. Yes, and I
final
my reasons
match.
Why. And I think Rascal will play Genji. That's my other prediction.
I want to try and get through this because I don't know where my groceries are. And I'm panicking a little bit. The Washington Justice versus the Houston Outlaws.
It's a clean
no surprises. I was really disappointed with the way that Justice were playing. Really disappointed.
Get him out.
Yeah. My boy Dante is gonna own. Yeah, cool. There's gonna be with these types of metas and these types of games, you are going to see the teams that are coordinated rise to the top, and the teams that cannot put anything together, we're gonna see more 3-0s this week. We're gonna see a lot more 3-0s, I believe.
Cool. It's time for our final segment, I think, of the night, of the day, of the morning, wherever you may be. It's the one that everybody really looks forward to. And it's time for Bren's Player of the Week, presented by T-Mobile. Roll the tape.
Hello everybody, it's me again, Tony Baloney. This time I'm not advertising my baloney stores in the deep ends and nooks and crannies of Brooklyn, New York, but instead I'm talking to you about Bren's Player of the Week, presented by T-Mobile.
You don't really know what was going on with that one.
That was a long intro.
Yeah, it's long, dude.
Oh, this guy's left it at the wrong house. Now I've got to be a weirdo at 10 o'clock in the morning, picking up my groceries outside someone else's house. 10 o'clock in the evening. I mean,
well, who's your Player of the Week?
Okay, so my Player of the Week this week, I reviewed all of the candidates, and trust me, I get a lot of emails about this every single week. honestly, they're all just not really that inspiring. And I went for me. So that's the wrong image.
Wait, what?
Kirk, there you go. Thank you. Yeah. So I went for I went for me. I decided that I am my player of the week this week.
I love it. This is
I'm
the best take of this episode. This is the best.
I'm
take
pretty
of
I'm pretty proud of just how I didn't cry when I ripped off my nail in the gym. Yeah, just how I really dealt with the situation.
Super plays Genji in a win, and you give player of the week to yourself because you injured yourself.
Yeah, I'll be real with you guys. Super's Genji, super low-hanging fruit, if you ask me. Like, of course, people are going to expect me to pick that for my player of the week, but I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of being my player of the week. Dude, the motherfucker pulled out the Genji against the Boston Uprising. You could have put me in, and you would have seen the same results.
No.
Yes.
No, you couldn't.
I'm on the same level. I'm on the same level. Okay.
No.
Listen.
Wait, so what have you achieved this week besides?
Yeah, what have you done?
That is a negative. No matter how much you present it as a positive, you have injured yourself and caused yourself.
What have you positively done this week? You haven't responded to any of our messages about trying to work on stuff. You showed up. All you did was show up to work. That's literally it. All you did was physically be present at your job.
Have you achieved anything this week? Have you accomplished a goal? Have you reached a milestone?
I worked.
He didn't cry.
Hello, everybody.
Oh. I mean, I was a pretty brave guy.
No wonder why Super doesn't want to come on the show, because he gets robbed. He gets skamazed by Bren.
It's too easy to give him the player of the week. Like, it's too easy.
Was it too easy?
Ooh, super play Genji. Ooh, super play Genji. I'm sick of it. Listen, he won't even 1v1 me. He keeps egoing me all the time. This guy thinks he's a class act because he can complete Resident Evil 4? Huh? No. Get him the fuck out of here.
What have you done?
Yeah, you still haven't said anything you've done. What about Babybay? Babybay leads the all-time rankings in Bren's Player of the Week, and he retires, and you didn't give it to Babybay?
I posted a positive article. They recently had some really successful phase 1, phase 2 of a potential vaccine. Oxford University.
Make the vaccine
for COVID.
You have nothing to do with the vaccine.
I posted about it though. I posted on social media, right? Doesn't that help?
You didn't make the vaccine.
What?
You tweeted.
I tweeted about it.
Breaking news from the BBC.
Yeah.
Oh my. No.
This was what you thought deserved player of the week.
No, but this is just one of the many things that I did that was pretty cool this week.
What's two of the many things? What's the second many thing? Hello, desktop.
I tweeted saying, I hope you have a good day if you're reading this.
This is the most... Look,
no, okay.
I picked against the team, and then I picked that team against the better team.
Continue this conversation. I need to go steal my groceries.
Worse than that.
I need to go steal my groceries back. Continue this conversation.
This is nothing to discuss.
I feel like I've entered a new dimension.
This is the most egregious Player of the Week award ever. And we gave one to Seth.
Yeah. I would have been happier with just having Seth on the show.
I would have been happy. Give it to Seth again.
Is Seth here, Kurt? Can you get Seth?
Johnny can't take much more of this show, I think.
Okay, this is the only way I can describe it, okay? You know when you watch Disney movies and like the characters like spaz out or something and like their eyes just like start changing shape and like colors and stuff? I think it happens in like Robin Hood, the Disney movie.
Jake, sit down.
That's how I feel.
Jake, Bren gave Bren's Player of the Week presented by T-Mobile to Bren. What has he done this week to deserve that? He doesn't even want to comment on it. He lives with the guy.
What's What's wrong with that though? Like inherently, if it's my award to give out, why can't I give it to myself?
So what? You could just give it to yourself every week.
No, but I
don't have anything
only
wrong
feel
with
like
giving
if,
the award to yourself. That's fine. If you've deserved it, you award it to yourself.
Let me think about it. Let me
a badge and a cookie.
Let me
What
put
the
it in
fuck
terms.
have you done?
Let me put it in terms you can understand. Okay, fucking Lex Luthor looking ass. Okay. This is how much Genji, super playing Genji against the Boston Uprising meant to me. Pew! All the way down here. How much me tweeting positively. Pew! But you know what? When we look at them and analyze them, oh look, the things that I achieved that week, tweeting twice, were fucking more on the scale of achievement compared to Super's Genji. All right.
But you're acting like there was only one player in the Overwatch League.
Yeah.
Many other players.
You know who would have been I know you didn't watch the game.
Who would have been better, huh?
So when we were coming back from a break one time, instead of unmuting my mic, I unmuted my desktop audio. So everybody in the YouTube chat heard Ashley do the countdown.
Yep. I remember that.
And she did the whole countdown, and the whole chat was asking for NA producer to come back the entire time. You could have given it to Ashley.
Yeah, this is my Genji here.
Showing highlight to you.
This is
Yeah,
a good
so this is
highlight. Did you call this a highlight?
This isn't fair. Because this isn't.
Replay this clip, Kurt. Matt was not paying attention to this.
This is not. No. This is a bad clip to show. This is an old clip. Okay, I've gotten better since then. This is an old clip. Don't show this. That's a clean right click. This is pre Genji. This is pretty good.
Yeah, that's in every one.
Listen, Kurt, play a recent one. Kurt, go on my channel.
You said you would beat Super. That you have more mechanical skill. You
Kurt, go on my channel and pull up a recent one. Go recent clips. Recent clips. Pull up.
He's playing it in slow-mo.
Pull up.
Look at that dash. He sees a loose tail. He just hits the.
I am experiencing a psychedelic trip. I am
honestly,
absolutely.
that clip gave me enough enjoyment that I'm okay with you being the player of the week now.
Pull up one of my recent clips. Someone's got to.
No, don't put a good one because
the
it'll
last
ruin
24
it.
hours. There's got to be something better.
That was horrific.
And you really think that your Genji's on the same level as Super's? It's absolutely not even close.
That's an old clip. That's an old. I think I might have been like, I don't know. Okay, here's a more recent one.
Okay.
What is this?
What is this?
See, this is pretty good. Oh.
What are you doing?
Yeah, no, that's a great clip.
I actually think I'm being cyberbullied a little bit here.
The most recent ones really are powerful stuff.
Okay, yeah, but that's
please put in some rules, T-Mobile. We need a leaderboards.
No,
we need to make this official. We can't allow
this.
Bren
it's
to
my award to hand out.
Player of the week. Huh?
So you think I should have handed it to what? The producers? Okay, give me two other candidates, and maybe I'll consider it.
Jinmu for playing Genji.
Another clip?
Jinmu.
What is this one?
Super.
Dude, see, this is some clean shuriken aim. Ooh.
You could have given it to Zoe for the cool picture of the Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah. That was so good.
Up.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's way better than anything you've done in the last year.
Note for improving so much this season, his Sigma is actually good, and he's a very cool and likable guy.
You could have given it to Josh for casting one game.
Yeah.
You could have given it to
Myeonbong for dying 9 times in a row on Ilios.
I could have given it to
and
Myeonbong,
not complaining about it.
Yeah,
you
in
really
hindsight,
could make an argument for anybody else associated with the league outside of you.
In hindsight, maybe giving it to myself is a sign of, what would it be? Cronyism?
Intense
Nepotism?
narcissism?
I guess technically
Nepotism.
both.
Nepotism, yeah.
No, it's not nepotism, is it? No.
Arrogance?
No.
It's not nepotism. Why did you just copycat me, Matt, when it was wrong? Why did
Because
raising
cronyism
yourself
is your
to a high
friends.
position has got to be some form of nepotism, doesn't it?
You could have given it to the guild we killed the boss this week. But that has nothing to do with the league.
Johnny, what server are you playing on Classic WoW?
No one gives a shit on Plat chat. What the fuck, dude? No. What? You're trying to escape this conversation by bringing up classic WoW servers.
I just want to. I'm thinking about playing again. So.
Oh
yeah. If someone would like to send me gold, I am reinforced on Windseeker US. So feel free to donate some gold, major healing potions, maybe even some linen cloth.
Brian hijacked this episode.
No, I didn't.
I'm leaving. I mean,
you actually going?
This is done. This is how to talk about World of Warcraft.
End it, Kurt.